This is a video on stack editor, and it's not my first video on talking about this editor. Uh, but I'm going to this time I'm going to uh, draw attention from Clojure community because I want to really know how it will affect others, because I have using it to generate my Clojure code for a long time. It's like a year, less than a year, but at least it's at least 7 or 8 months. So I believe it's already useful to many use cases, and the project itself is built with Stack Editor. So Stack Editor is yeah, I don't know how to define it, because currently we don't have a ancestor of it. But yeah, here's demo. Here's the demo. I can follow like npm install the command line from npm and create a file called ir.edm. I'm going to do it now. Touch. Oh no, sorry. Mistake. ir.edm. You can choose any name, but this is the default name, and use stack editor. Stack editor, the command line. Oh no. So I have to add the file first, because it is required to initialize the package. And now stack editor. I just run this command, and it will throw an error, because I have already started two instances of the editor, and so I have to choose another port, because it's taken, and 700 7000, and yeah, here we go. So this is the editor. Yeah, you see a empty UI for some reason, because it's really empty. So I have to add a namespace here. Let's zoom in, and I have to add a namespace. So this is the namespace part. Let me make it clear. Which one? Yeah. So there's already a package called demo, because this is the demo. Now I'm going to add a namespace called main, and it will generate a demo domain. This is the namespace it generated, and yeah, the package name is very special in this project. So I'm going to add a function called main. Yeah, main, just a main. I use this to indicate that it contains side effects like print line, hello word. Yeah, and I hit Command S to save the file, and so now I should see the file now here. It's ir. Okay, maybe browse the file. Browse file. Yeah. Here's the package, and here's the namespace, and it will create a namespace called main, and the definition here is it's a main. It's main function. And the main function, it contains print line, and there's procs for some code that does nothing fit into definitions or namespaces. So here's the basic structure of the config file. Now I'm going to add more code like to x. Here's the part I need the key cluster to show my code, because I have some keyboard shortcuts here. Like where did I put it? Added the shortcuts here, like go to definition or create a definition, like something like that. Usually you got this these features from an IDE integrated development environment, but with stack editor, it's very easy to analyze the tree and create this feature. Like I press Command Shift D, and I created this function, and I can create print doing x. This is doing x. Now I hit Command S to save the function, and let's try to check the file again. Yeah, it's the file, and another function is generated, and this is not enough, because what we want here is Clojure code that can be evaluated by Clojure compiler or whatever, or the interpreter or something. But so I want to generate the code, and actually it's already generated, because just take a look at this the logs. When the 23:30. When the editor starts, it uses this folder to hold the generated Clojure code, because here, and it's like you can see here, it's like there's a main file generated, and by looking at the file, you see exactly the code I want, and as you can see, the doX function is placed before this function, because main is depending on doX. And what more, we can create another namespace called lib, and as I mentioned before, it will create a namespace called demo.lib, and I create another function called doy, and doy I create a print doy, and I save this file, and check the folder again, and now here is another function called doy, and the namespace is already here. So now I'm going to require I can Command E to go to this namespace part, and I just require demo.lib as lib, and I use Command J to navigate to the function above, and call lib doy. Yeah, I think this is here, the code here, and the main function is calling doy. This is a basic demo, because the basic features is really simple. And what's more, recently I added a new feature called dependent tree, and it needs a root. The root is like is using the namespace main, and using the definition main. Yeah, main. How do we call this? And I'm going to I'm going to restart the editor, and load it again. Now it has a root, and I click graph here, and it told me nothing, not generated yet, because I have to click build tree to generate this graph, and it tells me that the main function depends on two functions, like one is to x and one is to y. And by control click, command click the functioning, and go to the function, and also I can use command U to go to its usage, and go use command D to open this function. And if I use command D on the function I already opened, it will just jump to this function. Yeah, this is the stack. So this might not impress you enough, because it's really too simple demo to demonstrate. And I'm going to open the project called stack edit, because it's this edit is called stack edit, and it contains a ir.edm file too, and it has several thousand lines of code, of EDM code. And I'm going to port 7,000 again, and now I'm running the editor, and as I reload, I get now I get some more files here, like I'm going to find the component called container, and the container is a function that runs contains my code of this component. Yeah, you may find this code weird. I will explain it like later. And here's graph, and this is this is my most excited part. And now I generated this function called this graph with the root called main, and it has a lot of dependencies, like run the app, and going to container, and a container is depending on so many components, like component workspace, and I'm going to and workspace is even dependent on code corner and the component stack, and it has several variables for styles, and some other functions called for interactions, or maybe we usually call it event handlers. And now let's command click to browse code, and here you can find the dependent component called corner and stack, and it's also the style functions are I just mentioned here, style container and the style sidebar, and even the event handlers here. So just you can believe that these functions are all the dependencies. You may not use this feature for frequently, but I'm just going to tell you what the stack editor does. It analyzes the dependencies and put them on the sidebar, so you can just press command D to open the functions, and use command D all the way down to any piece of the code. And command K to J and K is I use it to navigate up and down. Actually, I got more keyboard shortcuts here. Command P to command palette, like Sublime Text, and command D, command Shift D to this one is used to create the definitions. yeah, you may like I can more, yeah, you can see from here it's more is not defined in Clojure, but at least in this file, and use Ctrl D to create this definition. Yeah, and then just delete it. And go to namespace and list JK. Yes, yeah, and yeah, so um, this is quite a rush. So this is about the edit itself, and now you may already wondering what's the code, why the code looks so weird, even we already know it's from the even we already know it's Clojure code. Why the code looks so weird in this editor? Yeah, you can check here. The component container is a let expression and a division expression and a case expression and component definitions, and in the file it's let expression, div expression, and case and definitions. So this is exactly the same code. The same code, but one is in text and one is in. This is actually a DOM tree I used to edit the code. Yeah, it's just DOM. It's their DOM. So the idea here is the editor itself is called stack editor, and it's created with this editor called Clojure. And Clojure is an editor that I designed to like this one is an S expression, and you can call FAB here, and it's expressed in maybe start over again, and this is plus 1, 2, 3, 4, and get another expression called 1, A, B, C, D, and this is the way it looks, but internally it's we all know it's an expression which is corresponding to an AST, and you can just try to read the data here. It's just an as expression expressed in factors. So here, so with this thing we can express our code like define component x, and with params y, x, y, and to create elements or whatever you want, like case x one is a one accidentally read Chinese, and two and more like this. So it can be just expressed with this editor, and it's internally oh sorry yes internally just a factor containing this data. So so I just created a graphical editor like this to trying to edit the code. Yeah. I say it's using the using CSS as the layout algorithm, so it looks quite weird. Yeah, this is the editor part, and you may wondering how it's generated. It's the code, how the code is generated from this thing, and done by this yeah, it's done by macros. I'm not going to talk about the details, but you can check here if you want to know how it runs. Yeah, I hope I have explained it well. You can find them on Twitter if you got ideas, or even on Clojureverse. Clojureverse, because I often visit this site. Yeah, yeah. Just ping me. Just send a message to me if you got questions. Yeah. Thanks for watching.